What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the PGA Pinseeker MME strategy show we got going on at RPS. I'm your host, JSU, and with me today we got the one, the only, Giblets, Big T. What's going on, Big T?
I'd just like to point out that we got this show started on time, like we called yesterday. Ryan, JSU, Big T. I mean, put us in the winner's circle because it's our first show in like a month that we've got started on time. We set the precedent. They pick all the chalk guys yesterday. We'll get to some of their crappy picks they threw out there, but we got the winners tonight. Like we're gonna bring you the real plays. We got a lot of GPP winners. I can't wait to get in this, break it down. We had another big week last week. I definitely missed on Hideki. We weren't perfect, but I feel like we were close to nailing it both weeks, winning both weeks. This week, we may take it all the way home.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm with you. We both missed on Hideki. We'll take that L. We don't shy away from our L's. We'll take it when we have them, and you know, we're going to take that L. But you know what? You're right. We still had the winners. We had the winners in the full slate. We had the winners in the showdown slates, and definitely, guys, we'll maybe touch on the first round showdowns at the end, just for you guys real quick. But we're going to talk about, you know, our strategy for MME builds. If you didn't watch the show last time, we're going to go through the player pool. We're going to go top to bottom. So we'll start with the 10K guys. We'll talk about the guys who we like, the guys that we're taking a stand on. And listen, we're talking about the Millie Maker contest right now on DraftKings. We can throw some FanDuel plays in there. I'll throw some FanDuel plays in there as we go as well. But we're really trying to kind of show you guys how we kind of limit our player pool, go through our process, and build our lineups. And, you know, obviously we don't have an optimizer yet, but we will have one soon. And when we get the optimizer, we will have tutorial videos out on how we use them specifically. We'll have one for how Tony uses his, how I use mine, you know, and, you know, other guys like AP, Hoop. So you guys can see, you know, how we use all the tools. Because I've gotten questions about, you know, how many uniques do you set, and, you know, all that type of stuff. And we can get on that, you know, at the end. If you guys want to shoot some questions at us, we'll answer those. But Tony, let's start at the top. And, you know, you're right. Not only did we get this show going on time, but we're going to actually take some real stands. We're not going to just give you one chalky guy that we're fading and that's it in the whole friggin' player pool. You know, we're going to give you guys at each range that we're going to fade, you know, multiple guys. Because like I told you last time, I keep my player pool tight. Between 25 and 30 guys you'll see in my builds. So I don't have any more than 25 to 30. I think Tony's just a little bit more than me, but not too much, maybe 35 to 40. So, you know, let's talk, Tony. What are we doing at the top here? We got Webb. He's out. He withdrawed. He doesn't have the coronavirus, but someone in his family does or something like that. Brooks, you know, his caddy had it, all that stuff. So there's like 20% of ownership at least that has got to be made up. And I think it's going to all go to the 10K guys. What about you?
Yeah, so kind of like in the movie Major League, you got Brooks Koepka. He gone. Cross him off the list. That guy there's dead. Cross him off the list. You got Koepka's brother. You got Webb. The crappy part, though, is we talked a little last night. We talked a little today just to get, as we do every week, just to get ready for the playbook, get ready for the content. I said it last night when we were talking, my two favorite fades and the two guys I thought that were the worst plays on the entire slate were Webb Simpson and Brooks Koepka. So, like, it really messed with my plans here because they were both in the 10K range. They weren't going to be crazy owned, but they were both going to be over 10%. And now what's going to happen is everybody that's already made teams is just going to pivot on to Rahm for the most part because it's that same range, which really sucks for Rahm because we both loved him. I still love him. I mean, we're going to get into these guys in a second. I still love him, but I am very annoyed that 20 to 25% of ownership is more than likely just going to go on the guys that we like, which are Rory, Bryson, and Rahm, and even JT a little bit for that matter. But so we got to change our plan, which we always do in NBA. Like, you have to change your plan. You could have a plan going the whole day, and then 10 minutes before lock, somebody gets rolled out, and you got to change everything. Here, two of our favorite fades, I think we agreed on that last night too, are no longer here. So all of a sudden we got to decide what we're going to do. There's still the 4 or 5. I mean, the 4 or 5 guys up top. I guess I'd consider Cantlay kind of in that next group. So you got Rory, Bryson, JT, and Rahm. We talk about taking stands. I can't play all 4 of them. I might have played all 4 of these guys if I could have faded Koepka and Webb. But now that it's just these 4, I think they all get somewhere around 15. Even Rory's going to be, I thought he'd be around 10. Now he probably gets to maybe 15 range even. So I don't care about ownership, but it is annoying. I think we need to fade a guy in here out of the 4. I still want to play 3 of them because I think they're clearly the best plays. And I don't love the 9K range. Like, I don't love Cantlay. I don't love Xander. I don't love DJ. So I do want to play some of these guys. I think JT's my odd man out because I'm never fading Bryson. Like, I'll make that clear right now. I'm going to play him every week. Like, I think he's the best. I love him. Rory, I'm probably never going to fade Rory either just because basically he's right there with Bryson as the 2 best guys. So Rahm's got the upside. I think JT's the odd man out for me. What are you doing up here? Can we play all 4 of them? Can we play 2? What are we doing?
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think JT will be the odd man out. We both came into it loving Rahm. It stinks because not that we care so much about ownership, but it was nice that Rahm was going to come in probably around like what, 10, 12%. And now it's going to be, higher than that just because Brooks is right under him at 10K. It's an easy pivot if you already made lineups to just go from Koepka to Rahm because you probably had some money left over anyways to do it. So that's kind of obvious. And then the people who went to Webb, they can get right up to Thomas or go right down to Rahm. So it's one of those 2. So I still like Rahm. I'm going to end up fading Thomas. Now, here's my problem is on DraftKings, it is so hard to so I want to be overweight on the guys that I play in the 10K range. And for my builds, I'm way overweight on these guys. So if they're, let's just say, for instance, all these guys were coming in at 20%, I want to be 40 to 60% on the guys that I pick in this range. That's how I MME. I want to be massively 2 to 3 times the field on these main guys because they have such good win equity. But my problem is I can't play 3 of them. I tried building lineups with Bryson and Rory is so hard. Now, if we brought it over to FanDuel, it's totally different story. Almost literally half of my lineups at least have 2 of these 3, Rahm, Bryson, and McIlroy together. But on DraftKings, you cannot make solid lineups because if you put Rory and DeChambeau in a lineup, you have 69-5-0. Like, it doesn't give you enough. You don't want to have 3, 4, 6K guys for a bunch of your lineups. So unless you feel comfortable with a bunch of guys, but you probably don't. So I think I'm going to end up going Rory and Rahm, and for the millie at least, and it's going to end up being DeChambeau and Thomas, who I think are going to be the 2 most popular plays in this range that are left out. That's how I'm going to do it. I hate fading Bryson because I played him the last 2 weeks, and I literally lock buttoned him last week on FanDuel. Like,
fade someone else. So I want to point this out too, though, not to cut you off your thought, but so last night when we were talking, this is just like one of the things I always look at every single sport. Last night when we're talking, all of these guys, Bryson, Rory was a slight favorite on Pinnacle. I like to look at Pinnacle right now because they'll take high action. They have pretty sharp lines, but they'll take as big a bets as you want, which means that they have to be confident in their line. So last night when we looked, Rory was a slight favorite over Bryson. He was like basically 12-1. Bryson was a little over 12-1. JT was a little higher than that, and Rahm was a little higher than that. Today, Bryson's all the way up to 7.5-1. Big jump. And Rory's still 11-1, JT 12-1, Rahm 12-1. Obviously, some of this is a few of the other big favorites dropping out. But a big jump for Bryson. First of all, I clearly think he's the best on a course like that. Where whenever he can bomb it, I just think he's the best right now. Like, he's just playing at a different level. Rory struggled a little bit, and now the odds kind of reflect it.
But this is a course now where Rory also, I think this course is way better for him than the last two courses for Rory, and we're all just kind of forgetting about that. But Rory's best thing is he's a bomb. Like, he can drive it too. Not that he's Bryson. I'm not saying
he can drive it good though. He's right,
but he can drive it. He's in the top, and off the tee, he's up in the tops. Pre-COVID, I think he was first off the tee in the last 50 rounds off the tee. So I mean, Rory is one of the best at that stat. Bryson's right up there. So I don't know. Maybe then I play Bryson and Rory, and I end up fading Rahm just because I'm locked into Rory. I'm so locked into Rory. I'm gonna be way over the field on Rory. I guess that means I have to go Bryson and maybe end up fading Rahm. But I think Rahm sets up at this course really well too. That's what stinks about this. On FanDuel, I'm telling you right now, I have all three of these guys in every line, literally in every lineup, like at least two of these guys. So that's what I'm doing on FanDuel. Anything else about these 10K guys, or can we drop down to this 9K?
So just looking at matchups, just because I think this is such an important range, obviously, for your player pool. I mean, it's the best golfer, so you gotta make decisions. And another factor, like, I think Rahm gets the biggest boost in ownership based on the two guys, just because it's right around his price range. Like, everybody that built a team already that had, say, Webb Simpson at 10.5, they're going to get in there and be like, who can I pivot to? Rahm's 10.2. They're just going to pivot right over to Rahm. Whereas if they want to go up to Bryson or even JT or Rory, they got to kind of change the rest of their team. So I think, man, I might end up fading Rahm too. And last night I loved him, but
Tony, again, I think the question though is, what do you think Brooks Koepka and Webb Simpson's ownership was?
I think between 10 and 15, both of them. I think you can safely say 25 combined ownership.
That's what I was going to think, because I thought that Koepka was going to come in around 15% and Webb maybe 10. But give or take a few either way. But yeah, so I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Everyone is going to go to Rahm if they had Koepka. Like, I don't see them going down to Cantlay. I mean, we can talk about Cantlay when we get there.
They're not going to want to rebuild their whole team. Like, they're not going to want to just start putting guys. And Rahm's an easy pivot off those guys. Like, Rahm is a stud. So these matchups too, though, just to talk about, like, Rory is still minus 126 over Bryson, and Rory's minus 136 over JT. So Rory, I mean, he's just such a good play this week. The course sets up. I think I'm with you. I'm going to play these top two guys. Maybe I play just a hair of Rahm, I might just play the top two guys, and definitely fading JT.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to get sold just because, and it's not that I don't like Rahm. I think it's just because you're right. The ownership is going to all go to Rahm, whether it's Webb or Koepka. Most people can go, like, you can definitely go down to Rahm if you're Webb. And Koepka, most people have 200 left over anyways to get to Rahm. They don't have to rebuild their lineups. So
I just think, and too, Bryson, man, like, Bryson is a tough fade for me. Like, he's just too good right now. I can't fade him. Like, I have to play him.
He will be the most popular in this range, but for a good reason, for sure. So let's get into this 9K range, because I think we're going to have a little disagreement on one or two guys. But who is the guy that you love the most in this 9K range? If you had to pick one, who's the guy that you're going to be overweight on?
So this 9K range is kind of not my favorite spot, as crazy as it sounds. I'm definitely not playing Cantlay. I'm definitely not playing Xander. I'm definitely not playing DJ. They're all kind of overpriced a little bit for me. Like, I think if they were all 1K cheaper, I would love them. But I mean, Cantlay, if he was 8,800, I would really like him. Same with Xander, 86. They just feel a little heavy to me when you can go down and play Patty Reed, Sungjae, Sergio, Woodland, Finau, all in the 8Ks. Like, I just feel like those guys are better plays. But the two guys in the 9Ks that I'm definitely going to – the three, I mean, I'll probably play a little Answer too. He's been playing so good that I don't think I want to completely fade him. But it's Rose, Morikawa, Answer would be my three guys over the top three guys, like Cantlay, Xander, DJ. DJ played pretty good last week. I'm not sold still. I was going to fade Koepka for the same reasons. They played good last week. I'm not sold, and you got to take stands like we say. So I think I'll be I don't love these guys as much as other people though. I do like Rose, Morikawa, and Answer because I mean I don't think you can fade this whole range. I mean if you're playing 150 teams in this Millie Maker, you can't fade all 6 of these guys. Like it would just be. I don't think it would be smart really. So I think I would rank them Morikawa. I'd rank them Rose probably actually. Rose, Morikawa, Answer would be my 9K range.
Yeah, so for me, I do like Morikawa. I do like Rose, but I think Xander is the one in tournaments that you can get the most leverage on the field with. I think he is the best player in this range. I think we get him, we went from back to 10K to 9,600 where he was the first week when he absolutely dominated and when he finished third at the Charles Schwab. Course sets up a little like that. And Xander just had 2 bad rounds last week, but he had 2 really good rounds last week where he shot a 66 on both round 2 and round 4. And like I said, when I was talking in the first look pod, he could have had such a better round on round 4. I mean, the guy started off like birdies in his first like 4 holes or something like that, and then he gave a few strokes back in the next couple, and then ended up getting those back at the end. But this dude is just so good, and if I'm going to get him at like 10%, I'm definitely going to play him. Like I'm definitely going to do it because I think DJ is going to be popular. I think people are going to go to DJ. I think Rosewell is definitely getting steam just because he's had 2 good weeks in a row. I was on him last week. I think I'm going to end up fading him this week because I prefer Morikawa and Schauffele. So if I had to pick for me for tournaments, it would be Schauffele, Morikawa as my rank. And then Rose would be third, but I'm not going to end up playing him. Answer is a fade for me at 9K. I know he's been great, but, it's just he got such a good bump. I played him the last 2 weeks. This week, I'm going to hope he kind of dies down a little bit and, the fade, the crazy ownership that is projected, even though I don't believe he's going to be 20%. I think that's a crazy number, especially with the guys right below him. But I think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm playing Schauffele, I'm playing Morikawa, and I'm going to end up fading the rest of this range.
One of the reasons I love golf and I've had good success at golf is like you look at this whole range, 6 guys, right? 6 guys, like none of these guys are going to be low owned and none of them are really going to be high owned in my standards. Like to get it, say the highest guy's like 20% in this, like that's just not high to me. If I love Morikawa and he's 20%, like that feels low to me. If I love him, I'll just play him 50%, like we always say, 40, 50%, and just, I don't know. And all these guys are going to get ownership. Like I think the lowest will be 12 or 13%, maybe even higher, because they're all good golfers and they steal from each other. So that's what I love. Just take your stands. Like in this range, I think you should play 2 or 3 of them and fade the other 3 or 4 of them and just go overweight. Play 40 or 50% of the 2 or 3 guys you play. And I mean, to be honest, all these guys could crush. They're all really good golfers, but you got to take stands.
Right. And I think what Tony said when he talked about just going overweight on that guy you love, like if Morikawa is going to be 20%, play him 40 or 50%, like just get massively over the field so you have that edge. And I agree. I think you play 2 to 3 golfers in this range and then you fade the rest. And Tony said he likes Rose, he likes Answer, he likes Morikawa. Those are his 3. I said if I had to rank them, it'd be Schauffele, Morikawa, and Rose. So I mean, we're pretty close. We just disagree on one guy really each. But
I should point it out too. Like I truly just because I always like to put it all on the table. I honestly don't love anybody in this range though. Like as I build my teams later in the night, say I'd somehow find a path to get Bryson at. I mean, what salary do we have if we play?
Can I tell you though, you don't like this range because it's so hard to build a lineup with the 11K Rory or Bryson. And that's my problem too is, I do love Xander and I talked about it. I want to have a little over the field on Xander, but I want to have a ton of Rory and Bryson, and it's so hard to build a Rory and Xander combo because that leaves you 7,350 left if you played Rory DeChambeau and Xander. But same thing, and so and that's the same thing with you, right? You just don't like the look of your lineup when it's that.
It's just in how strong I think the 8K and high 7K range is that. I mean, I know they're chalky too. Again, we'll talk more about getting some low-owned guys towards the bottom, but we're going to talk about chalky guys. Like, I'm okay with eating some of this really good chalk as we get into it and just doing it with the roster construction. Like, all these 9K guys are going to be 15 to 20% for the most part. We don't love them. I mean, it's just hard. Like you said, if we play Rory or Bryson, you're talking 7,800 type thing left for 5 spots. If you plug in Xander, you just don't like. What do you have if you plug Xander with one
7,350.
Yeah, like I mean, you just don't. That's hard. You got 4 spots. You're gonna have to play 2 guys that you might not feel comfortable with. So I don't think that's necessarily the best build, especially with how stacked these fields are. I'm going to just go a little lower. I mean, this next range we're going to get into just has so many guys that could win the tournament.
And can we talk about just like when we say like low owned, high owned, I mean, the ownership spread, I think it's going to be very spread out. And we're not like, I haven't found one guy who I can tell you like, oh, this guy is going to be like 5% owned in this 8 to 10K range, because there's really not outside of Spieth. I think Spieth's someone we can confidently say is going to be 5% or lower. We hope. I mean, it'd be great.
He'll still probably come in like 10%, though. He always does.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, really and truly, these ranges, you're not going to find the crazy low owned guys in these ranges. It's when we get down to the 7Ks and the 6Ks where we can really get an edge with the low ownership. But let's take it to the 8K range, because there's 2 guys I want to specifically talk about first, and that's Casey and Bubba Watson. We all know the course history is amazing. We've heard it all week from everyone. What are you doing with them? Are you weighing that a ton when you make your lineups, or are you just looking at the fact that they're going to be very popular?
So, yeah, Bubba's won it 3 times. Everybody that listens to the podcast and shows and articles has already read that. Like, he's won 3 times, but not in this field. We've talked about it the last 2 weeks. We're talking about it tonight. These fields are jacked. All the best players. We lost a few good players, but the field's still stacked. Bubba, last week I played him a ton. He was 75 or 70, whatever he was, 7,600, 7,500. Now he's all the way up to 8,800. I can't imagine paying 8,800 for Bubba Watson. And if he's going to be 15 to 20% on top of it, I don't want to do it. And Paul Casey. So last week, Kuchar was a really good play. Makes the cut and just never really does anything. That's kind of how I see Casey going. Like, I think he'll make the cut. I think he'll be sitting good going. Like, you'll feel good about him going to Sunday. Like, oh, maybe Casey goes low and I win. But I think he just kind of sits there and finishes 25th or something. So if you want a 25th place finish from your 8,900 guy, go ahead, play him. You'll get 4 days from him. He'll probably do decent, but I don't think you're going to win the Millie Maker with a guy like Casey. I'd rather play a guy like Patrick Reed or someone like, or even Woodland or Finau, the chalky guys, where I feel like they could win the tournament. I don't feel like Casey can win this tournament. I don't feel like Bubba can win this tournament, even though he's won it 3 times. The field's just more stacked this week.
Yes, I'm in total agreement with you, and I love
somebody
Bubba
in the
Watson.
chat, by the way, says, give me some Phil. Like, Phil Mickelson?
Phil Mickelson. We haven't even got. Just hold on a second. We're not getting there yet. Let's wait. We'll get some Phil talk real quick. But so Bubba and Casey, I'm 100% in agreement. The field is stacked. If Casey was like 7,900, 8,300, I'd get it a little bit more. But 8,900, I would prefer Answer, Morikawa, Rose, shot. Like, I would prefer going to that. Right? We're going to get into Reed in a second. I'd much prefer Reed as a pivot. And I mean, I just think Patrick Reed, and I don't play Patrick Reed that much. I don't like him, but I think he has so much upside at 8,700. So for me, I'm fading Casey. I'm with you. Casey and Bubba are fades for me. I'm going to play Patrick Reed. And now we got to talk about in my opinion, the chalkiest guy on the slate, who's going to be Sungjae Im, who literally everyone in the Tuesday show they were just they love this guy. They were just all over him. They just so many good things to say about Sung Jae Im, who missed the cut like last week. And I know he didn't play. He doesn't play well at RBC. I got it. Blah blah blah. So, Tony, what are you doing with Sung Jae Im? Because I mean, the Tuesday guy, like everyone in RPS, pretty much is telling us to play him. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they got the picture of Sung Jae up. He's got his Band-Aid on his ear. These guys have their meat in their hand, their other hand on the keyboard, like just fully touching themselves to Sung Jae. Loving the Band-Aid. They're probably Hoop's probably got a Band-Aid on it at his house right now, just a Band-Aid on the ear, just loving life. But
he's telling you to take it easy on him, Tony. Just so you know, he's in the chat. He's telling you to take it easy on him right now.
Hoop did get a few extra fades yesterday. I'll give them credit. They faded a few more guys. Last week they literally talked about every single dude, but yeah, I mean they faded a few extra. They're working their way up the chart. So Sung Jae. So last night I said I made fun of him. I still don't think he's the greatest play, but man, it goes back again to that ownership about Webb and Brooks and kind of people cycling off. I do think I like him a little bit more than last night. I still don't love him, but kind of how I was last week. Like, say he's going to be 25% owned, which I think he will. I don't like going along the field, but just because he missed the cut last week, just because I love a bounce back spot, and there's just not, like I said, I don't want to play Bubba. I don't want to play Casey. I don't want to play these guys in the top. I'm already fading a ton of guys. I don't think I need to completely fade him. I'm not scared to play along. I don't have to go way over on like Hoop. I know does it. You said you like to do it. I'm not scared just to play 25% Sung Jae, and if he crushes, I know this is kind of a cop out, but I don't love him, but I don't hate him as much as I did. I don't want to go like 50% though, and I don't want to fade, so I'll just play along the field. I'll play 25% on one guy. Like, I'm not going to do it with a bunch of guys, but with him, I think I'm just going to play 25%.
Tony, I just want to say that was the biggest cop-out answer I've ever heard come out of your mouth. And everyone who's on that Tuesday show better start getting on Tony, sending him messages right now, yelling at him, making
I still don't like him for the record.
You should have heard this guy yesterday on the Zoom call roasting these guys. I mean, he was nonstop talking about how bad a play Sung Jae was at that ownership. So here's my problem, and I understand what you're saying. You're fading enough of the chalk plays where you don't have to fade them all. And that right there is true. Tony's already given
I don't think I have enough people in my player pool. Like, I think I'm at like 20 people right now. Like, I need more people.
I think you need a little more than 20, but
I don't like that many guys.
Here's my thing, though. I love everyone else in this range. Like, I think Sergio is a great play. I think Gary Woodland, Tony Finau, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Mark Leishman. I like all those guys, and I already said I like Patrick Reed. So for me, I'm fading him in the Millie Maker. I just think in the Millie, when you're going for that number one spot, he's a pretty good fade. I know he is a cut maker, but if he does miss the cut like last week, you're going to be way ahead of the field because he's going to be very popular. Or if like Reed and Garcia outscore him, you're going to be ahead of the field anyway. So that's my plan.
Though, is like, I just want to live in this range though. Like, I want to live in here. I want all. You want guys.
Everyone in this range. That's
and I just want to jam. That's why. I mean, I still haven't built my 150. I'm still playing with it. So, like, there's a world where I could fade all those 9K guys and just jam all these 8K guys because I like it. You just named them all. I'm not playing Casey and Bubba for sure, but Patty Reed, Sung Jae, Sergio, not playing Spieth, but Woodland, Finau, Fitzpatrick, Leishman, even Neiman, like. All these guys are elite, so I want all of these guys in my player pool. Yeah.
I think you're right, though. If you do play all these guys, then you should fade the 9K range. And, and that way you're for sure fading enough ownership in chalk if you're doing that. That's for sure. And you're already fading JT. You said you're going to be under on Ron. Like, you're going to fade enough of those guys where if you're going to do that, you probably should. It's not really a bad strategy, especially when you go building lineups with the 11K, the two dogs at the top, the 11K guys. It's tough, man. So you're going to need these guys in the 8K range. I'm with you. I love a ton of these guys. I get the in play. I think if you're fading him, you're fading him more because he's going to be extremely popular. Big T says he doesn't really worry too much about ownership most of the time, but he is going to push the 25% range, in my opinion, for sure.
He's going to be 25. Yeah, he has to be.
Yeah, he's going to be. So play him. He's a solid play, but I think if you took a stand and faded him in the Millie Maker, I don't think it's a huge mistake. You're taking a shot. Let's go down to this next range, and we both have a guy, and I think our whole staff is on board with this guy that we're in love with, Viktor Hovland, who you've been on since the start of this PGA comeback. You've been on him every week, and I've been on him with you. I've been riding the Big T train, and I just don't see a way to fade him. I'm going to be so overweight on this guy. This is my problem with playing Sung Jae is I'm going to probably have like 50% Hovland or something just because I need to be over the field. And I'm worried he might push 25, 30%.
He's the most mispriced guy in the field, I think. He sticks out. He'll probably come in the highest owned, honestly. Like, he just sticks out. I mean, he should be 8,500 in that range. I mean, he's just too cheap. 7,800 is just too cheap for Hovland. He fits the course perfect. He's played good. He's a birdie maker. Just everything lines into place. I hope he's not the guy that burns everyone. There's always the one dude that I feel like burns everybody. I hope it's not this week.
Don't you dare say it. Don't stop right now. He is not going to be that guy.
He looks too easy. I hate when guys look this easy. Like, it looks like the easiest play ever. I mean, just jam him 7,800, which I'm going to. Like, he's going to be 25. I'm going to have at least 50. I mean, maybe even higher, maybe 70% Hovland.
Tony,
he's just too easy.
I have a question for you. When you have a play like this, it doesn't matter the sport, but when you have a play like this where you just say, like, this is ridiculous, the price is ridiculous, he's a great play here, do you ever consider just lock button this guy in the 150? Well, in these big tournaments? I mean, it's a question I think people, have, because I think you're saying it, and I agree with you. It's just an easy play right here. We just see it, and we're like, how is this guy 7,800? Do you consider that?
So for the longest time, I would lock like two guys in the Millie Maker and in my big teams and stuff like that. And yeah, it's awesome when they crush and when they do really well. But man, when they miss the cut in your whole week, I just don't think you need to. Like, if he's 25%, just play 70%. It's not a hedge because you still have 30% if he misses. But like, I just don't think you need to go the whole way in 150. Like the 888, which we can talk a little bit about too, because I think we're both going to play three teams in it. Like, that's what we're comfortable with. We're talking about the 150, but we're comfortable playing our three main teams. I'm more than okay with locking him like 3 for 3 in that. I just don't think you need to in a Millie Maker type format because there's just not much upside unless he wins the thing. If he wins it, obviously it's awesome. But even if he finishes, say, 10th, like, you're golden with your 70%. Just enjoy your 70%. You're gold. I just don't – golf, anything can happen. I mean, he can get freaking COVID after the Thursday or something, and he just gets the boot that way. Like, because we're going to see that the next few weeks. Like, people are going to come down with it mid-tournament. You're going to get screwed. Hopefully it's not one of your good guys that's crushing.
Dude, if this guy gets the COVID now, I'm going to be pissed at you, Tony. You just friggin' threw the COVID on. What the hell? Oh man!
I said miss the cut. Now I'm talking COVID. I mean, no!
God, you know what's going to happen too? Like one of these days, like Rory or one of these big names is going to get it, and they're going to just 2 days in have to be out. It's going to screw a lot of people. But
I'm a little nervous about Rory still having it because he was on that putting green with Watney last week. He kind of was talking about how he was with him on the course. I'm a little cautious of him.
Oh, don't say that because it's another guy I'm so over the field on. We don't need that right now.
High on Rory. Yeah. Like, hopefully, yeah.
So all right. We've got Joaquin Niemann at 7,900, who's going to be popular. I like JT Poston a lot. It's had 2 really strong weeks, 7,900. Ian Poulter, Joel Damon. What are you doing with the rest of these guys? Because we already talked about our love for Hovland. What about these other guys?
So, yeah, I mean, this range is strong. I mean, you got Neiman, who's another guy that's going to be mega popular, but for good reason. He's been playing great golf. I don't think I like him as much. He's one I'd much rather play Finau or Woodland. I know they're a little bit more expensive, but still the same range. Like, you can make a pivot somewhere else to be able to get up to those guys. Poston's been incredible the last 2 weeks. I think I'd rather play him than Neiman. Poulter's always solid, but Poulter, again, kind of falls in that bracket of a guy like Paul Casey for me. I think he'll make the cut. I think he'll be solid. But do I think he has win equity in a field this strong? I don't know. Like, I don't – Hovland's got way more win equity to me. I mean, right now, just if you look at win odds, I mean, you got Hovland 33-1. You got – so this range. You got Finau 56, Fitzpatrick 56. Poulter is 78-1. So this is just on Pinnacle. There's other books, obviously. Talking about this range. You got Hovland literally 33-1. You got Poston 78-1, Poulter 78-1. Connors 83-1, Scheffler 78-1. Basically the whole range is like 78-1. And then you got Hovland at 33. Maybe I am just going to lock Hovland in. Like, he's just mispriced. He just –
it's definitely a thought. I mean, I don't
if he misses the cut, we just lose.
Honestly.
Like, that's fine,
yeah.
I guess. Like,
I mean, listen, if he's in 75% of your lineups, then in the Millie Maker especially, it's going to be struggling if he misses the cut anyways at 75%. Yeah, you have the other 25, but then how many of those is 6 of 6? And, so I don't think it's a bad strategy, honestly, if you find any guy that you really like that much.
Well, listen to this, too. Like, so I'm looking at matchups now. I base things on odds way more than probably anybody, or at least as much as anyone. Like, Victor Hovland is minus 160 over Poston at that same price range. Like, I mean, he's just, he's the best play on the board for sure.
Yeah. Neiman, I've talked about, like, his volatility. Yes, he's looked good the last 2 weeks, but prior to COVID, I mean, he missed, what was it? 3 straight cuts. Like, I mean, this guy could easily miss the cut. And yes, he's been playing great, but like 7,900, he gets a price bump. He's going to be very popular. I'm with you. I like the guys around him: JT Poston, Victor Hovland, Damon. I'm going to play. So yeah, I mean, I like these guys. Let's go down to that, like 75, 76 and under. Scotty Scheffler's, I know, going to be somewhat popular. I think at 7,600. Corey Connors at 7,500 has been playing great. Brian Harman at 7,600 is going to be popular. What are you doing with these guys?
So Scotty Scheffler is kind of the model popper where the guys like Mangone, who literally peel themselves to models and stats, and the last 73 rounds he shoots this tee to green, and he's 48th in the field and putting on Bermuda greens, and all the things Mangone jerks off to is like, he loves Scotty Scheffler. So he's another guy to me that I don't like in these loaded fields. He's gonna pop in the model. He's gonna look good on paper. I just don't see it. I don't believe it. I'm not buying into Scotty Scheffler in this field. I think he's going to be popular. I would just rather play Brian Harman. So I'm looking at the odds. Let me find this matchup because I know I saw it. Brian Harman's minus 130 over Poulter, which I like. I thought I seen a matchup, Harman versus Scheffler. But anyways, I like Harman way more than Scheffler. I think he's got a much better chance to make the cut. First of all, I think he's got a better chance to win the tournament. I think he's got a better chance. I just think he's way better than Scheffler, and they're the same price. And I think Connors is better than Scheffler, honestly. I like Harman better than both of them. Keegan Bradley's going to get a decent amount of ownership because of course history. He's shown some low numbers in the past. I think I'm going to fade him too, though. Like, we're talking about all these course history guys that played against guys like me and you out there. They didn't play against the top of the top because, like they've said all week, they said on last night's show, it's usually after the U.S. Open this tournament. So a lot of these guys don't play, or they come in tired from the week before. I just don't trust the course history. I'm just going to play the certain guys. I mean, Keegan Bradley might end up popular, honestly, and I just don't want to play him. Billy Ho, I play Billy Ho every week. I'll play him again at 7,300. I don't love this range, though. We're definitely – another L we got to take from last week is Jason Day. We talked him up a little bit. He never gave us any hope. He sucked. And him and Hideki were terrible calls from us. We got to take those L's. We're not coming back with him either. Screw Jason Day.
Yeah, definitely not on the Jason Day train, and that did hurt me too in a few lineups that were looking pretty good with Jason.
He never even gave us hope either. Like he just sucked.
So I think in this range, I think Jason Kokrak, I think is an interesting name who had a rough round at RBC, but Charles Schwab was very good, and I think you can go back to him at 7,400. I'm with you. I play Billy Ho pretty much all the time when he's in that like 7,500 and below range.
He's just too cheap, right? Like he just feels
too cheap. Corey Connors, I'm definitely going to play. So Scotty Scheffler or Brian Harman, I'm still going back and forth on these two guys. You like Harman. He definitely has the course history. I guess I'd probably have to lean Harman.
I just think he's way better. Like I just think he's better than Scheffler.
Well, the other thing that I agree with you on is that I just don't know if Scheffler has that, like, I just don't believe it, like, for what he's going to be in ownership. If I was getting Scotty Scheffler at like 5 or 10%, I might like it. But if he's going to be 15 or something like that, then it's not as good. So I think I'm probably lean Harman if I had to pick. Other guys in this range, I mean, when we get past those guys, we got guys like Ryan Palmer, Ches Reavie, who won this event, I think it was last year, Snedeker, Louis, Shane Lowry, and Dylan Fratelli, Max Homa, Lucas Glover, who I know Hoop is very high on. And I like some Glover too at low ownership. I think that's a really strong call. Who do you like in this low range? Because right now I'm looking at Homa, Glover, and maybe some Fratelli.
Yeah, so just the first thing that sticks out in this range, again, we're always going to be honest on this Wednesday show. We're not going to hide the wrong calls. Another wrong call last week. I had a big week last week, but another wrong call. Streel Daddy, you let me down, man. 7,100.
Oh, that was your guy too.
Yeah.
That was your, low owned 6K guy, I think, too, right?
Yeah,
or 7, whatever
he
it was.
just was another guy that really just never gave me much hope. I did kind of get off. So just to put it all on the table, last Wednesday night, I'm at the lake house like 3 a.m. I hadn't thought of Sergio all week. I probably didn't talk about him on the show. I mean, maybe I talked about him a little, but I wasn't really.
You might have brought him up just a little bit.
But at the last second, this shifted my whole week too, and it shows you just how you never know when something will shift in your head. At the last second on my main team, which I put in every tournament really, from like $500 down in every tournament, I pivoted from Streel Daddy to Sergio, and I get Sergio at 1% owned, and he just plays like a hero all week. So those are the pivots that when we make a wrong pivot, we talk about and we remember, like, how could I pivot from this guy? I'm taking credit for the good pivot for once. Streel Daddy to Sergio and Sergio at 1%. Like when he was making those birdies on Sunday, I was just skyrocketing up because when you got a 1% guy and he's in the top 10 making birdies, like it's just that's when the 1% just pushes you up. Not to get too far off subject though, but it just shows you like you can't get too pot committed to anything. You never know when. It just hit me like Sergio's been ball striking good. He won at Sawgrass, which was a good comparison course to last week. And I just decided to get on him. But Streel Daddy, I mean, just a shame how bad he was last week. I loved him. This week, the two guys, Hoop talked about Glover. I am a little worried about Glover, though, because like Hoop said last night, second most birdies, I think he said, maybe third, whatever it was, second or third most birdies in the field the last 2 weeks. I'm a little worried that he kind of shot his wad the last 2 weeks, and maybe he comes back to reality a little this week. That being said,
but at 7K, though. I mean,
yeah, I was going to circle back. Like I'm worried about it, but I'm still going to play him. I mean, because all these guys in this range, fit with our build. Our build is going to be Bryson or Rory, not together. I don't think you should play them together for the record, because you can't play 4 guys 7K range. So I don't think you can win on that. But if you play one of them and you play like 3 or 4 chalk middle guys, you're going to need one cheap guy. And they're all pretty much going to be low owned down here. So if you can play Lucas Glover at 3%, sign me up. Even if he doesn't get it done, like, I'll take my chances that he does it. Max Homa. Jim Furyk has shot 59 on this course, or 58, or whatever they said last night. I mean, he's put up a big number. Furyk always makes the cut, I feel like. He's another guy that will probably finish like 25th, but he should make the cut. And in this cheap range in a tournament like the 888, I'm good with a guy that I feel like can make the cut. In the past, he's shown 58 upside, 59 upside. I'm fine with some Jimmy Furyk down in there. RCB, Rafi Cabrera-Bello, he sucked this year. He's been terrible. But in the past, he's been kind of a big game hunter. In majors, he's had good performances. In big fields, he's had good performances. And he's 7K, and he's going to be 1% owned. So these are where I want to take my stands. I want to bury the chalk up top. And I want to take a few little 5 to 10%, kind of like I said last week, a few little 5 to 10% targets down in here to go with our build.
Yeah, Jimmy Furyk, I think, like you said, if you wanted to play him in the 888, in the higher dollar stuff, the 150, 3-entry max, all that type of stuff, I think he's a fine play. I wouldn't play him in the Millie Maker just because if you're trying to win $1 million, I just don't see him having that top 5, top 10 upside. I mean, maybe he still does, but like Tony said, he's probably going to finish like 25th, which is good, but is that good enough to win in the Millie Maker? Probably not. And they're not getting them at 6K. You know, it's not like on FanDuel 2 weeks ago where he was minimum price, where we were literally lock butting him in. I was lock butting him in my lineups. Had him in like 100% of my lineups, and he did fine, but didn't do like amazing. Just did enough at the minimum price. Now he's 7K. I mean, I'm with you. I think you play, you know, not more than like 1 or 2 of these guys in the low 7K range. Definitely don't want to play more than that in each lineup. But yeah, I'm on Lucas Glover, Max Homa. RCB, man, I never get that guy right. But you're right. If you're getting him at that low ownership, like, oh man, and
he sucked too. Like, be clear.
When I don't play him though, he does great. So I'm not going to play him this week. So everyone else play him, and he'll probably do really well for you. Tony, so let's get into the 6K range, because I want to talk about Phil Mickelson. And I know you hate Phil Mickelson, and I know you never play Phil Mickelson.
You can't play Phil Mickelson.
Hold on. He's 6,900. I have
he should be like 5,900. Can he go lower than 6K?
So wait, I have a question for you.
Oh,
who in the 6K range do you see? Like, I know I'm not saying Phil's going to win, but like, who in the 6K range has a better chance? Like, is there like everyone? Like, are you literally saying he's the worst
literally
player in the
everyone.
6K range?
Like, I just couldn't even imagine playing Phil Mickelson. Like,
so he is playing, isn't he? Isn't he paired up with like Rory and Bryson?
Which I don't think helps him though. Like, does that? I mean, maybe he tries to play up to him, but
that's what I mean. Like, maybe he has 2 good days and like decent days in a row. He is 6,900.
I won't let you play Phil Mickelson. Like, I refuse to let you. I mean,
yeah, this is like the version of you talking up Sungjae after you murdered him yesterday in the chat. Like, literally, like, all right.
Man, so, I do think I need to still fade Sungjae. You're right. Like, that was weak. That was a weak move from me. I got to fade it, but that was terrible.
Especially on the show too. If you like did it pre-show before and at least told me that's what you were gonna say, it would have been a little easier. But
I just go by the whim. I don't prepare what I'm gonna say.
I know. Oh, I know. All right. So let's get into it, because we got Patrick Rogers at 6,900, who I think's going to be a little popular in this range. Carlos Ortiz, who had the big week last week, 6,800. Matthew Wolff, who I know for a fact AP was just all over yesterday on the show.
Yeah,
and
talking
I think
about
you're
like
on
touching
too.
Your meat. Like, AP's probably peeling right now to some Matty Wolff drive, like Matty Wolff on the driving range. AP's just sitting there full fondle.
I'll tell you right now, AP has been on fire with these 6K calls. So, I mean, you got to ride a little Matty Wolff, even just a little bit. Just have like a 5% or something on him, because AP's been on fire with these 6K calls. And I will say too, we had a few of them. I'm going to talk about me specifically because I told you guys last week that I was playing 4 guys in the 6K range, and 3 out of the 4 made the cut. Doc Redman, Matthew Naismith, and Sebastian Munoz. Keith Mitchell was the only one I missed on, and I'll take the L on that. But I was really happy that 3 out of the 4 6K guys, if you're playing 4 6K guys and 3 out of those 4 make the cut, I mean, you won that. Like that's pretty good. So I try not to have too many guys though in this range. And I think we talked about it last time, Tony, just because, I mean, they're down here for a reason. Yes, they help make your lineups, but at the same time, I think you want to keep it anywhere from like 4 to 6 guys. I don't think you want to get crazy and have more than like 6 guys in this range. What about you? How do you approach this range?
I mean, first of all, the number one thing I think I need to do for sure when I'm building, I'll go right in the lineup builder, which again, we're going to do some tutorials in the next couple of weeks once we get the right to kind of screen share some of this stuff. But I'm going to set a group and I'm going to put everybody from, let me see, from probably 7,100. Yeah, because I wouldn't put Billy Horschel in this group at 73. I could play Billy Ho and a scrub guy. Like I think Billy Ho does have some win equity. Like I think there is a world where he could win a stacked field if he starts making birdies. But some of these guys, starting with probably 7,100, like if I was playing a guy like Streelman or Varner or RCB or Furyk, like I want a group of all the scrub guys below, max 1. Like I don't want any more than 1 in my teams, no matter what. Just because I don't think 2 of them can finish in the top 10. I just really don't. And to win a tournament like the Millie Maker, you're just going to need them to be up there. I mean, it's a massive field. You need win equity. And I do think one of them easily could be top 10, but it's just tough to get 2 of them. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to set that rule, max 1. And I'm probably going to set max 10%. Like I don't want more. They're all going to be, I mean, besides some of the chalkier ones, I mean, all of them aren't going to be 1 or 2%. Like Max Homa might be 10%, that type thing. But like if we play Matty Wolf, we're going to get him 1% owned. So you don't need more than 10%. 10% is going to get you 10 times the field. And to be honest, like, yeah, we like him, but he could easily miss the cut. All these scrub guys, you don't need to be more than 10%. Same thing you said. Like, if I think, say you want Max Homa, maybe I get off of him if I think he's 10% because I don't want to play 30%. I'd rather play 15% Lucas Glover than 30% Max Homa just to get above the field, to use that perspective. You got guys like Ryan Moore who contends in weird times. Like, I don't like Ryan Moore, but if he's going to be 3% owned, he contends in weird spots. Like Friday afternoon, you'll see Ryan Moore in the top 10 and be like, man, why didn't I play more Ryan Moore? He just pops up at weird times, and I don't like him. But again, max 1, set 10% max, and kind of just play with a few of these guys. Danny Lee, like I played him in Showdown like 3 days last week.
That's your boy right there, Danny Lee. I knew you were going to bring him up. That's your boy.
He's just a birdie maker. Like, he sucks, but he's going to be 1% owned. He goes for birdies. If he makes the cut, he's going to score. And he probably doesn't have win equity. But if he finishes 15th and makes a ton of birdies, he can do it for you. I mean, especially if Bryson or Rory goes and wins this thing by 5 strokes or something.
Yeah, for sure. And Tony, you didn't even talk about 2 of my favorite plays in this range. They're down to 6,700. I think for tournaments, Johnny Vegas is just such a strong play.
He's my favorite play.
If you go to the tiers that we have on RPS, he's my favorite pivot in that 6K range, and I think he's yours too, Tony.
I got him too.
Yeah, I think he's yours too. So I love him. I think he sets up well here.
He can go low for us too. Like he could shoot 63 tomorrow.
Yep. So I think he's someone in Showdown. If we talk about Showdown, maybe at the end real quick, I think he's someone that I'm going to have interest in playing first round Showdown, just because you're right. He can shoot a low round tomorrow. I wouldn't be shocked. But Matthew Naismith, I think He's still cheap. 6,600. This guy, I mean, he's been killing it the last 2 weeks. I don't understand how he's still 6,600, but I'm going to keep playing him. So I don't care if he's 5%. Like, that's fine. I'll have 10% of them or whatever, 15% if I want to be double or triple the field. But like Tony said, I don't think you need to be more than 10 or 15 with him specifically. But,
I mean, what is the reason? Like, why would you go more than 10 might be a bad. Why would you go more than like 15% of any of these? Like, we love Matty Wolf, but like, just why would you want to go higher than that?
Yeah, I don't really know it. So I'm going to say on FanDuel, it's kind of a different case because sometimes they're so silly with their pricing, and they leave Doc Redman at min price. I think it was last week where we just literally locked them in. Again, like we did Jim Furyk, we had I think I had 40 or 50% Doc, and I know I said it on the show on FanDuel, he's min price. You got to play him. He's just too cheap. But on DK, you're right. Like I don't understand. There's multiple guys in this range, and I'd rather have like we said, like 4 to 6 of them, and have 10 to 15% of all those guys, as opposed to have 1 or 2 and have 30 or 40. I think it's a little too risky at this and range.
You don't really I just don't think you need it. Like, it's a milli maker. You're playing for first place. Like, I just don't think you need it because it's going to be the same build. Like, if you play 6 guys, you're going to get that same build with Royer, Bryson, a bunch of really good chalk plays in the middle, and then your scrub guy. Like, you should want more bullets of the scrub guy to where if they hit, then your good guys should all hit in theory. Like, basically, Bryson and your 4 good guys should, in theory, be locks. And then if your scrub guy top 10s, you're huge. Like, there's no reason to go overweight there.
Yeah.
Not by overweight. Like, overweight's the wrong word, but like way overweight. Like, don't play 40% Matty Wolf. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you don't want to be 30 times the field, 40 times the field on Matty Wolf. Like, that just, you don't need to do that.
Even if obviously, if he wins the damn thing, you'll look like a genius. But even say he finishes 30th.
Yeah, but Tony, even if you have 15 to 20%, you're still going to have a shot. You're going to have a great shot honestly, if you have the right you're going to have a great shot with 15 to 20, and that's a lot. So, I'm with you. I don't understand why you would do that. One other guy I do want to throw out is Bryce Garnett. If you look at his last 5 tournaments, and obviously 3 of them going back pre-COVID, this dude's either missing the cut or finishing like top 20 in his last 5. Like he was top 20, cut, top 11, cut, and then top 17 this past week. So this guy shows you like this guy is either going to get cut or he's going to have like a top 20 finish. And at 6,600, just a guy who gives you that chance at a top 20 finish. We've even seen top 15. That's the guy you want at 6,600, right? Yeah, he's missed the cut a few times. So he gives you that, volatility of, he could miss the cut. But we're diving right now. We're dumpster diving at 6,600. He looked good last week. Like, I think you could play some Garnett, just a sliver, 5%.
I agree. Like, I kind of said it last week. I'm fine with taking a bunch of stabs down here because, again, it's a milli maker. Like, we're not talking about a high, like 888. I kind of want to narrow it down more, obviously. But the milli maker, like, you can take some stabs on these guys. You only need one of them to hit, again, because of our rule. Make sure you set the rule max 1. But, 5 to 10% and maybe 15% if you really love a guy is just where I want to be. Because, you only have 100% max. Like, I want between 80 and 100% of scrubs. Maybe 20% of teams where you kind of have all mid-tier guys or something like that. But I don't want – like, say you got 80% total scrubs. That gets you 8 to 10 guys between 5 and 15% type thing.
Yeah. Is there anyone else in this range? We didn't bring up like Vaughn Taylor, I think is a solid play if you want to play him at 6,500. Doc Redman's at 6,700. Like those are solid plays. I'm probably going to play
Vaughn Taylor. Like Vaughn Taylor, I played him last week. He kind of had his name. Wasn't he like talked about with some of this COVID stuff and different things?
he was playing, wasn't he playing with, or he heard about Watney and weren't they playing together or something? And then
Yeah.
he shot 2 bad rounds after that. He was probably a little shaken up because he's probably like, I probably have the COVID. So, I mean, I can't like fault him too much for that. But at 6,500, the guy still got upside. Like you can't deny his upside at 6,500. So I think he's a solid play. But anyone else you see, or are we?
We have to talk about our showdown boy too, because we crushed those showdowns last week. But Wyndham Clark at 6,500, he was awesome in a couple of those showdowns. And again, he's going to be 1% owned. He's 6,500. Play 5 to 10%, and if he makes a bunch of birdies and finishes 10 to 15th, you're going to have a chance to ship something.
All right. Well, we're still on showdown. Let's just quickly, just kind of give me a few guys that you'll look at, because guys, we usually post for round 2, 3, and 4. I'm pretty sure, but we'll kind of just quickly talk about it.
Snyder's going to put something up tonight too. We're for sure going to.
Okay, so then Snyder will have something out.
We'll have full content for the next 3 rounds,
but yeah,
okay, so
for sure.
So last week we kind of went all early, guys. I'm going back with it. Like they said, it could rain a little bit tonight. It's going to be soft in the morning. Maybe it gets a little windy in the afternoon. Maybe it doesn't. But again, like I used this example last week. Like there's so many good guys that you have so many options that you can find good guys in the morning. You don't need to go to the afternoon guys anyways. And if you somehow fall into it where you get big wins in the afternoon, or weather or rain or just anything weird happens, you could fall into the nuts. And if it doesn't, you're still okay, because you still pick plenty of good guys that go in the morning it's going to be perfect conditions in the morning no matter what. So I don't really see the downside unless you just love someone at night or in the afternoon. I mean, you can play them, I guess, but the morning treated us good last week. It treated us good in both days of this Outlaw Tour. I'm going back with it. So let's kind of look at some early tee times here.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some real quick, because your boy Billy Ho's got a 725 in the morning.
Johnny Vegas, Matty Wolf.
Matty Wolf. I mean, there are some guys down here. Hovland's got the 1 o'clock, so he's not an early guy. Still think he's obviously in play, but going with this strategy, I mean, yeah, I think
Rory and
right,
Bryson too. Like
Patrick Reed, I think if you need someone in the 8K range, Sergio at 815, and then Rory and Bryson. I think what you do is I'm definitely going to play one of Rory and Bryson in my showdown, and then kind of build from there with the morning guys.
Yep. I mean, you got a bunch of early guys that we love. I mean, Rory or Bryson, again, like our main teams. Patty Reed. You got, just to look through some of the names, Wyndham Clark is a cheap guy. You got, let's go back up and look at some of the other side. You got another guy we didn't talk about in the cheap range, but Sebastian Munoz, I like a ton. That for the week, he's a cheap play. Again, play 5 or 10%. I love him showdown, though, because he makes birdies. He's going to have a chance. But the cheap guys, showdown last week, I was playing 2 studs more so than the 4 days, because you don't have to worry about making a cut. You're only trying to make birdies. So I think you can play Rory and Bryson together. And all of our cheap guys we like are playing in the morning for the most part. Matty Wolf, Billy Ho, Jim Furyk even. I mean, he's shown big time upside. All these cheap guys, they just fit. So Sebastian Munoz, all these cheap guys, Von Taylor, Victor Hovland. Oh, he's in the afternoon. I was looking at the wrong spot.
Yeah, he's in the 1 o'clock.
I mean, there's so many cheap guys that you can fit them with Bryson and Rory. Maybe in showdown too. If you want to play Phil, play him in showdown when he's playing with those guys. Maybe they go out there and gamble a little bit. And Phil loves to gamble. Maybe he gets in there and they gamble a little bit and he picks it up.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying Phil's the best player in the world, but he's playing with in my opinion, the 2 best players in the world right now. And, maybe he goes up a level just because he's playing with those guys. I mean, you never know. It's golf, but it could be. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm going to definitely be attacking those early guys. Guys, if you want to throw some questions in the chat, we'd be happy to answer a few questions. And Anything else, Tony, when it comes to like your strategy when it comes to the MME part of your builds? Like, is there anything else that we didn't hit on that you're doing? Talk about real quick. What do you do with your like uniques? How many do you normally set? Does it go slate by slate? Because that was a question in the Discord. Someone asked, how many uniques do I usually go? And there's multiple answers for this. I think it's dependent on the slate sometimes and the ownership. But what do you do?
So I've always just been a one unique. I'm always going to be the one that has a super tight core and a small player pool. I just go one unique. I don't care if I want my teams to be super similar to each other to where, I don't know, like I don't really see a reason to get off the one unless you're playing a ton of people and you want different combos. But I'm good with basically every week I want, if my core guys do well, I'm going to crush. That's what I want. I don't want to have to worry about combos. So I just go with optimal. Like on any optimizer, you can kind of change your percentage of outcomes or whatever it's called. I kind of just go with the optimal based on the projection, one unique, and just know that I'm going to set a rule like 0 to 1 scrubs, 1 stud. So by doing the little rules here and there, it's going to get me where I need to get anyways. And I don't really need to set the uniques. I think the people that set the uniques more are the people that play a ton of people in their player pool.
Yeah, I agree 100%, which makes more sense, honestly, when you have more players. But yeah, I mean, and like Tony said earlier, guys, we're going to have videos once we can get this optimizer going. We'll definitely have videos showing you guys how we use it, and then we'll get some screen share going for this show. I know specifically we want to get some screen share going just so we can kind of show you, how we use the tools and everything. Let's see here. One question in the chat Josh has is Tringali as a cheap option. Do you have any Tringali?
I mean, I will not be playing Tringali.
All right.
I mean,
so
what is he? 6K? I mean, how much is this dude?
Is he 6,700? What is he? Hold on. Let me look real quick.
I can't even imagine playing Tringali.
No, he's a little lower than that, I think. What is he?
He's made 11 out of 12 cuts.
Yeah. He's 6,300, Tony.
So it still goes back to the point, though. Like, so he's made 11 out of 12 cuts, but then you look 27th, 30th, 64th, 49, 43, 20, 66, 13, 44. The 13 was the Houston Open, which I'm sure wasn't a huge field, or I mean a loaded field. So he just doesn't give you that upside that I want. I don't think he's got the upside you need. Even if he makes the cut, I don't think he really does anything.
It is the Jimmy Furyk of the 6,300 range for me, anyways. Where in the Millie Maker, I just don't. I don't understand the play. If you're talking about a last filler in the higher dollar stuff, you just want a guy who wants to make the cut. He's super cheap. It allows you to get everyone else you like. I get it, but in these 6,300, so I get that as well. But he's going to give you what 60, 70 upside, like an upside. I mean, we need the guys to go high in the Millie. So for the Millie, I'm going to have no Tringali. I think for other contests, not the Millie Maker, I think he'd be an okay play as a last filler.
So Riot, the captain, was just saying that Tringali's in Snyder's article.
Oh, we're sitting here making fun
of. I mean, and the article, to be fair, is based on win odds too. It's not necessarily. What did he put in here? Is it for freaking show? I'm gonna pull it up right now. Let's see what this guy said. Let's see if I can defend him or if I got to make fun of him.
Well, it's not going to be worse than what you did.
Pull it up while I talk about these odds. Pull up what he said.
All right, I got it.
I want to talk about these odds real quick. So just some matchups for the tournament. Some interesting matchups as I go down the list. This is one of the things I love to do that might get me off a 1v1. If I can't decide, I'll go to the odds and just kind of see what sticks out. So just to start at the top, Corey Connors is minus 120 over Scotty Scheffler. That's kind of interesting in that price range. You got Billy Ho minus 140 over Ryan Palmer. So when I see Billy Ho minus 140 over Ryan Palmer, we didn't talk about Palmer and I didn't like him, but I would never play Palmer over Billy Ho when I see that type of line. which we already like Billy Ho, so it's a good thing. It makes me like it even more. You go down, Louis Oosthuizen and Jason Day are kind of a coin flip. I hate both of them, so that's interesting. Gary Woodland.
That's easy decision right there.
Yeah, like
the coin
easy
flip
decision. You got Gary Woodland minus 120 over Neiman. They're kind of in that same range. Like Woodland is super popular. Neiman is super popular. So if you kind of get down, should I choose Woodland or Neiman? Woodland's minus 120. So I think I would like Woodland a little more. An interesting one, the very next one. Finau, who's going to be super chalky, versus Leishman, who might be a little lower owned. Leishman's minus 118 over Finau. So that would be kind of a leverage decision for me. Like if I know Finau is going to be more popular, maybe I go a little heavier on Leishman just because he's favored and a lower owned type guy. So that's interesting. Working our way down. Brian Harman minus 123 over Poulter. That kind of fits it. You got a massive favorite, again, against our boy Spieth, because Spieth is just literally the worst ball striker maybe in the entire field. Matt Fitzpatrick is minus 162 over Spieth in that price range. We obviously like Matt Fitzpatrick way more, but it just kind of proves that we are in the right spot with that to take him over there. Working our way down. Patrick Reed minus 116 over Sergio. Xander and Justin Rose are basically a coin flip. Justin Rose is favored over Cantlay. So, like, when I see that, Justin Rose minus 120 over Cantlay, I just would have a hard time playing Cantlay for 9,800 when you can get Justin Rose for 9,200 or whatever he is. So that kind of, again, proves where we're at. Bryson minus 113 over JT. You got Xander minus 120 over Cantlay. So now you got two matchups where Cantlay kind of looks bad. So our fade kind of looks good for Cantlay, which I like to see. Hovland minus 160 over Poston. That's a perfect example. Like, if I see Hovland, I know he's super chalky. We already talked about this, but if I see Hovland as 160 over Poston, like, I just can't play Poston over Hovland when I see that kind of odds. Here's another interesting one. You got Abe Answer minus 150 over Paul Casey. They're kind of in that same range. I'd have a hard time playing Casey over Answer when I see this.
And can I just jump in real quick? Because I want people to notice that every single guy that Tony's talked about so far, when he's saying over the other guy, he has literally told you he has that guy who's favorited over the other guy who he's fading pretty much on every single scenario. He had Cantlay and Rose. He's going Rose, not Cantlay. He had the Answer over Casey. He's going Answer over Casey. So you can see he really does use these odds as one of the ways he looks at it. I just want you guys to, like, notice that, like, if you go and play the tape back after this, you will literally go and say, oh, wow, he likes this guy, he likes this guy. And then when he reads all these odds, he's saying the same thing. Like, so it's literally what he does. Like, I just thought it was funny because you were just telling people kind of your player pool with who was favorited just right there.
And to be honest, like, I hadn't looked through the whole thing, but so just say this as an example. There isn't one on here because it kind of did fall into place. But just say I liked whoever it was. Say I really liked. Give me an example of say Patrick Reed and just say Patrick Reed and like Spieth. This is completely rhetorical. But say I was on Patrick Reed and I hated Spieth. And we came in here and Spieth was like minus 160 over Patrick Reed, I would really have a hard time not changing my mind, honestly. Like, I would not feel good about it if my guy that I was way overweight in a head-to-head matchup was that big of a – if it's like minus 115, like, sure, you can go. But if it's like a big favorite, I'd have a hard time not changing my mind. Luckily, this week, kind of all of them are lined up. The only one I don't necessarily line up with, we're going to play anyways, and it's Rory versus Bryson. Rory's minus 126. I think I like Bryson more, but like you said, we're going to probably play him somewhat equally anyways, so we're going to be way overweight. And another guy, maybe the last one I'll talk about, and then we can go back to the other thing, but you got Dustin Johnson minus 142 over Bubba Watson. That kind of goes with what we were saying. We're fading DJ too for the most part, but it just shows me, like, the Bubba fade is strong in that area. And if I was going to play Bubba, I'd be even more worried right now just seeing how big of a favorite DJ is over him. I just like to use the odds, and you can watch the movements too. Like some of these will move later tonight. Like say I'm on the computer at 2 a.m, which I probably will be building these teams, and you see some big line move, like something jumps 20 cents. Really take note to that because maybe someone fired a big bet or something late in the night.
Yeah, and going back to your DJ point, like I think he's gonna be not very popular, but I think he's gonna be popular. Like he's definitely gaining steam. Where I think, especially with these guys withdrawing, like Koepka and Webb and stuff like that, he's gonna be someone that people go to not directly as pivots, but just because they're gonna have more money to spend, maybe or whatever. But yeah, so in Snyder's article, it's so funny. When you go to it, he has Tringali, Taylor Gooch, Harry Higgs as his 3 favorite cheap guys, and then he has Keegan and Rory as his 3 main guys, like over 6K. So pretty much, like besides Rory, and I don't know if you're playing any Harry Higgs or Taylor Gooch, like we didn't really talk about either of them. I think I prefer Higgs out of the 3, but either way, we weren't really too high on them. But like we literally said we were fading like the rest of these guys besides Rory.
It just goes to show you though, like people have different opinions. Like so I'm reading his article. I just pulled it up. He basically said what I said. Like Tringali is safe. Like Tringali made his debut. He's made 11 out of 12 cuts. So he is kind of safe in that way. Average finish of 37th is kind of what we said. We're not necessarily looking for that, though. The weakest part of his game, losing strokes. I mean, yeah, I don't like Tringali, but if you want a safe play, I don't mind it. I mean, the reasoning for it is in the article. You got the other cheap guys. Again, if you're playing a dude 6,300 anyways, he's going to be risky. So the safety he gives you of making 11 out of 12 cuts is worth it in a way. I just want a little more upside, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But is there anything else? I mean, I think we got most of the questions. JJ's in chat. Dudes with 3 legs are smashing the lock button on Morikawa. # Morikawa train. I mean, yeah, JJ, go for it. I mean,
who's JJ?
I don't know, but
I mean, is that the same dude as Uncle Dunkle? I mean, who's freaking JJ?
I don't know. I don't know why his name is JJ and not Dunkle or Uncle Dunkle or what. You're confusing us here. But yeah, he likes Morikawa, and I mean, I can't argue against Morikawa. I just, with Rory and Bryson, I'm gonna hate it because I'm not gonna be able to have as much Morikawa as I want. So I don't know. We'll see when we start building teams. But Big T, you want to say goodbye to everyone here?
We need to make our picks here first. We haven't. I mean, every week we got to make picks.
That is the second time I've done that. Jeez. All right. So
we definitely have to make
winners.
Picks,
all right. So
I think we should change it up too, because we're going to do this every week for the whole PGA season.
Can you keep track of this, please? Can you keep track of this?
We need to pick a winner first. I mean, once we pick a winner,
no, I mean, I'm saying you're gonna have to keep track of it, like who we pick or something like that.
I'll set up a spreadsheet. We'll put it
all right
there.
So you picked Bryson last time. You were close. I took Bubba, and I'll just take the L on that right now, man. But God,
I think we need to pick one guy that we think has a good chance, and then maybe one long shot. So like our favorite to win, and then a long shot type play.
All right. Well, let's hear it. Give me your favorite to win. We'll go 1-1.
So I just have to take Bryson again. I don't want to just be the cop out. And right now on Pinnacle, let me see what he is on DK real quick. I got to get the best price for people watching the show. Let's see what we can say. Your pick while I look up these odds real quick.
All right. Yeah. So I think for me, and I mean Bryson, I can't argue against Bryson, but I'm going to take Rory. 10-1. Like I think he has a really good chance to win. Bryson's right next to him at 11-1. Like both of these guys are great bets. I'm just going to go with Rory. I think this course sets up so much better for him. And you saw, like, he had, a really bad round in both of the last 2, tournaments. But he had a few really good rounds too. So if he can kind of put it all together and have 3 out of 4 good rounds, I mean, this dude's going to be there at the end for sure.
So yeah, Rory's on DK, where most people have the access. Like if you have access to sports betting, it's probably DraftKings or FanDuel in your state. You got Rory 10-1, Bryson's 11-1. I'll go with Bryson, JSU. I mean, he goes with Rory. I mean, we're kind of taking a cop out, but you're still getting. I mean, 10-1 and 11-1 is still a nice return on the favorites if they do win in this stacked field. So we'll go with it. I mean, we lost.
Out though. We're literally going to
Yeah.
take a long shot too. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I know. I think I kind of know where you're going to go with your long shot.
Go ahead and just say it. I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm looking. Pick your long shot.
Okay, because I'm like 100%. I mean, I don't know if Victor Hovland kind of counts, but I think it does. Like, I think you're going there. But
you're going with them.
I love him. I just the guy who I'm going to go with is actually Mark Leishman. It might be the worst pick ever, but 55-1. The guy has win equity. We've seen him win. Like, I think he's a great play. I love him on DraftKings. He was my favorite pivot in the 8K range. And I like it. I like the odds. I like everything about it. So I'm going to go with some Leishman at 55-1 after he, probably pissed some people off the first tournament he came back, and I think he missed the cut, right? So hopefully some people remember that and stay off of him.
Yeah, and like we said in the matchups, he was favored over who was he favored in that range? He was favored over Finau, I think, in that range. So that's kind of a nice little boost for Leishman. 55-1. Man, I always break the rules right after I started, but I want to take a really long shot too. But give me Hovland for kind of my guy in the mid. We talked about him. I think he's a great play, 45-1. And give me Johnny Vegas at 150-1.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
We're going to track this too, so we can see how many units we're up or down at the end of the year. Just one unit on all these. So I'll have 3 this week. JSU can pick a long shot if he wants. He doesn't have to, but I'll take Bryson 11-1.
I love the Johnny Vegas call. That's a good call.
Bryson 11-1, Hovland 45-1, Johnny Vegas 150-1. JSU's got Rory 10-1, Leishman 55-1, and he can pick a long shot if he wants a long shot. If
we're going long shots, I won't pick Vegas just because you had him. I'll go with Sebastian Munoz at 175. 175-1. Give me Munoz at those
Matty
odds.
Wolf is 175-1 too down there.
Matty Wolf, I mean, honestly, you could throw a unit on all these guys at these
all you
type of numbers.
Is bank one the whole year.
That's it, and you're golden. But yeah, I like it. I like both these plays. So I think that's it, Tony. Guys, I hope we helped you out. I hope we kind of gave you kind of an inside look at what we're trying to do, how we build our lineups, how we go about constructing, deciding. We talk a lot, so it's a lot of bouncing ideas off. But I mean, I hope this helped you. And like we said, we're going to try and do more as we get the optimizers and the screen share. So obviously, stay tuned, but let us know if you like the show. Hit us up on Discord and just let us know if there's something you want us to talk more about. Hit me up on Discord, hit Tony up on Discord, because we'll definitely, listen to all the feedback. So we really appreciate it. But guys, for me, JSU, Big T, we'll see you guys next week.